And welcome to Education, Leadership, and Beyond, Surviving and Thriving. My name is Andrew Murata, host of the show, and I've decided to make a little change here in the program. We're not going to get involved in the numbers anymore. I've been doing this a while. I love it. We have a faithful listening audience here, so we are taking out the numbers. So this is just the next episode of Education, Leadership, and Beyond. And I'm thrilled to be proud to be a member of the Education Podcast Network, Voice Ed Radio Canada, certainly on iTunes. We're live here on Facebook, wherever you're taking in your podcast. Thank you so much for listening. We are going to meet Ross Hogan today. Ross is a friend of mine. We know each other for several years, and we're actually involved in a mastermind group together years ago. He's a great leader, New Paltz, New York. So we're going to meet Ross in just a few minutes. The sponsor of the show is Halvesies Cookies. Ross has 2 little kids, and we are going to send him some Halvesies cookies as a thank you for coming on the show. Check them out. It's the holidays now. Halloween is coming, and we're going to be coming up on fall and the holidays. Halvesies Cookies will vacuum ship the cookies. And they are literally cut in half. They're beautiful looking cookies and taste even better. A friend of mine just got injured, and they're okay. But I sent them some Halvesies cookies, and he loved them, and it was great. So check them out. The discount code is Murata, and you will get a discount on your cookies, halvesiescookies.com. The opening concept here to the Unnumbered Show, the next episode, is about impact. I do want to take a moment to recognize the Fagan family here in Milford, Pennsylvania. Ann Fagan was a teacher at Shahola Elementary in Delaware Valley Schools, and she was my kid's teacher. She was many kids' teachers or teacher, and she was wonderful. And unfortunately, she lost her battle to cancer. And my goodness, the services were this weekend, and I'm still, it's Tuesday now, September 9th, thinking about the church and the amount of people and the speeches that were given, and just looking at the impact of a teacher, right? Normally at a retirement party, things like that, people don't, the kids aren't there, but to see so many of her former students there and the impact, all these young kids, my daughter crying, right? She was wonderful. And it reminded me of the impact that we can have as educators, right? Regardless of your role in education. We work in schools, we work with kids. It is important to make those connections. Ann Fagan did that. So a shout out to her family, her husband, Joe. She was a wonderful lady, and we were blessed to know her. And the services were just beautiful on Saturday. So thank you to the Fagan family. All right, let's get rolling with today's show. Let's bring Ross Hogan into the program here. He has been standing by here. Ross, welcome to Education, Leadership, and Beyond.
What's going on, Andrew?
Good to see you.
Privilege and honor to be on here with you. So I'm really excited.
Way too long. I've been asking you for years, and you're dodging me, Too busy leading and taking care of that beautiful family of yours.
Yeah, that's right. But no, it's exciting. I mean, I've appreciated all of the the books and the blog posts over the years, and our time in the mastermind group together. So when you mentioned this opportunity, I was like, absolutely, let's do it, because I'm excited. I can't remember at one point, and I wasn't sure if you were referring to your family or what, but the phrase "Lotta Murata" was stuck in my head. Was that?
That is a true statement there, bro.
Yeah. So I was like, bring it on, Lotta Murata.
Well, I'm glad to share leadership with you. I just hope I could get to the modeling conventions that you lead. You're so good looking as leadership, but we're helping each other on our journey. And Ross is a principal. Ross, pronounce that for me. Is it Duzine? Duzine Elementary, New Paltz, New York. It's your 5th year. You're a veteran, Ross.
I know, it's crazy. It snuck up on me, but COVID feels like every year was like 5 years within it. So when I think back to it, it's been a wild journey, but I do really believe in, and I think this applies to teachers and every level of education. But 5 years is typically the sweet spot of when you start to get your feet under you. Which takes a while, but I do believe it's true. I felt that as a teacher, and I felt that as an assistant principal, and I'm hoping that this is the year where can sort of just launch based on what I've learned in the last 4 years.
Yeah, awesome. And you're starting the year off. It's September now. How is it? How do you feel starting the year?
Good. It's a big year for us here at Duzine. We're a pre-K through 2 building. And we have a bunch of new initiatives this year. Literacy is a big thing for us.
Oh, yeah.
And we're, a district, and a lot of districts are going through this, a lot of elementary schools, but the science of reading is really on the forefront, front and center for a lot of elementary schools. And we're living that right now. So we have a new literacy program coming in. We're piloting it now, getting ready to launch it in January. We expanded our universal pre-K program this year. So a lot of cool things happening in our building. It's busy, but it's exciting stuff.
Yeah, and the science of reading, you're right. It is on the forefront.
Yeah.
Ross, you're dealing with the little kids. I mean, anything can happen.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, with the older kids, anything can happen, but there's a little more of a structure. How do you manage your day? Tell me some of your organizational strategies.
Yeah, well, I truly believe, like, whether you're doing pre-K or whether you're doing 12th grade, your priority is always safety, and you're always trying to make sure that your building's ready to open, for kids to come in no matter what age level. But we typically my day is I try to start with just a simple look over my schedule. I'm looking at my to-do list and thinking about what my priorities are for the day. We are lucky at Duzine to have a built-in morning meeting time. That's when a lot of our meetings with teachers happen. And then, so typically I'm part of those meetings early in the morning, first thing when the school day starts for teachers. And then I always try to be a part of arrival. When bus arrival starts, I'm usually on the radio greeting the kids as they come into the buildings. I think it's really important that they get the day off to a good start. Again, no matter what the age level is, I think that's important in any school building,
Oh, yeah.
Making sure that kids see supportive adults as soon as they get off their buses and start walking into the building. And then, we're off and running, and, I try to stay loyal to the list that I came up with at the start of the day. And I always feel like there's certain touch points throughout the day where you can have student contact. And, if you're in the classrooms, great. If you're not able to get in the classrooms on that particular day, lunch lines are a great way to make contact with students, not disrupt instruction, the cafeteria, recess. So, I just try to make sure that I strike a balance between getting stuff done, doing what I need to do when I have to close the door and get work done, but then also making sure that I'm out, seeing the kids, seeing the staff members, and just being visible.
How much of your day are you designing? Is your secretary putting there for you? Who owns the schedule book? Is it you, the secretary? Who's running that show?
Well, it's Google Calendar, so it's a combination. My main office staff secretaries will inform some of the things get put in my calendar. There might be things that I add to my calendar myself. It really depends on the day and what's going on, But a Google Calendar, and and this is a recent thing in the last 2 years, but I've returned to the paper and pen to-do list.
Oh, wow.
So I got one of those Moleskine planners.
Oh, yeah.
And I follow it. I have my Google Calendar, but I'm informing it just based on writing out my lists. And I like that. There's something nice about not being tethered to, something computer-based.
I'm with you, and I actually have it right here. It's in a
Nice.
little stand, and
Wow, cool.
I take the card out in the morning. There's the back. I take the card out in the morning, and I keep it right here. And as I'm getting these things done, and then if you don't get it done, it goes on to the next side.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was really inspired. A few years ago, I read Getting Things Done by David Allen, which is it's an intense system if you want to do the whole thing. But there's some principles that I took from that book that I still try to carry over. Like I can take notes on anything. I just box what I need to add to my to-do list. And, at the end of the day, I might have all different size papers and all different size notes. That stuff's not important. It's really what gets added to the list and making sure that you don't drop anything. So,
that's right. You want to be a king of following up with your people. Ross, speaking of your people, if I polled your staff and I said, hey, tell me about Mr. Hogan's leadership. What's his leadership like? What do you think people would say about you?
I would hope they would say that I'm empathetic, that I'm a listener, that I at least try to be analytical and think things through. Those are some things that I feel like come natural to me. And I just, I'm sort of an analytical thinker to begin with, and sometimes it can sort of veer into the over analytical and overthinking things. But I'm always just trying to make sure that I'm making the right decision and that I'm putting people first. I feel like it's really important that you prioritize your relationships with people. Everybody wants to be seen. Everybody wants to be heard. And as a leader, it's easy to get caught up in, how crazy our day can be and, brush something aside. But, I think prioritizing empathy and listening is important because you got to have your ear to the ground. And also, you want to make sure that the people you work with feel valued and feel heard. So.
100% for sure. Ross, in our pre-show planning here, you talked a little bit about your time as an assistant principal, right? Your first year as an administrator, that's going way back now. But thinking about that, what were some things that really were a challenge for you there that you've grown from?
Yeah. Well, it's been interesting because I started my career actually as a secondary social studies teacher in the Bronx. Wow. Yeah. I taught high school, and I didn't expect to go into administration, but one day, a former colleague of mine was opening up a new school in the Bronx. And this was sort of in the age of, Bloomberg was opening and closing a lot of schools in New York City. And there was an opportunity for this teacher that I had worked with to open a school. And he asked me to join him as a teacher there, which I did. And I was a teacher there for a couple of years. And then he said to me one day, I'm going to need an assistant principal in a year or two. Do you ever think about going into administration? And up to that point, I hadn't. It hadn't really entered my mind at all. But I did, some leadership responsibilities around the school. So I went through my program, and it just so happened that the year that I was ready, finished my administrative program, ready to take on an AP role, he was looking to hire a AP of discipline, basically. And it was a brand new school. There's a lot of things happening. And he sort of wanted this person to come on and be the fixer of a lot of the issues that, we had in the building. And it was a challenging year that tested me unlike any other, professional year that I've had. But I learned throughout the whole thing and took a lot away from it. And, I learned to not let things roll off, not get too caught up in things that went wrong and things that I would have done differently. You got to have a tough skin in educational leadership. And I think I learned that year. And I also learned, I had really high expectations for myself. And as a first year AP, as a first year principal, whatever you're going into, you just have to understand, listen, there's a learning curve to everything, and that year was a learning curve for sure.
Wow.
But I survived.
Yeah. Surviving and thriving is real. Give me a couple things you might remember. Like, do you remember a specific thing? Like, oh my God, I'm never doing this job again. I'm out of here. Was there anything that almost made you mail it in?
Yeah. I definitely had a few of those moments. one thing I realized, because I had been a teacher at that school that I became an AP at,
Okay, that helps.
and yeah, it helped in some ways, but also, the relationships that you have as a teacher, sometimes they look differently as an assistant principal.
Oh yeah.
And, some good friends that you might have invited to a Christmas party, and now you're not invited to a Christmas party. You might have had a great relationship with that kid, but now you got to talk to them about being late to class and being late to school, etc. So that adjustment, I was like, is administration for me? Because I hadn't quite found that point where you can still develop relationships as an educational leader. It's just sometimes there are different types of relationships than you have when you're a teacher. So that took time. I had a few of those moments, and where I thought about going back to teaching. And then I think, I mentioned, sort of having some expectations and not doing everything I wanted. We had initiatives like I really wanted to overhaul the school's PBIS system. And one thing I learned that year is you need one person can't fix everything, and one person can't do everything. You need buy-in, and you need investment from everybody, and everybody needs to be on the same page. So we did try some new things that year, and some things took off, other things didn't. But it's again, I try to let things roll off, and that year taught me that that some things you have to just learn from and move on.
And you have moved on, and now you're up in New Paltz. Your son's coming to your school. You're a fifth-year principal, so it's not where you start, right? It's your growth and constantly improving. And you're a learner. I mean, we spent some time together in that mastermind group. You are always so well read, so well spoken, so well prepared to share. What are you reading these days? What are some books that you have really got your attention recently?
Yeah, well, a few are connected to the initiatives that we have here at Duzine. This summer, I just read Street Data by Shane Safir and Jamila Dugan, which is sort of looking at the value of qualitative data in schools. It was a really an eye-opener for me, and I got a lot out of it and enjoyed it. Recently read, and is connected to some of our literacy work, Cultivating Genius by Goldie Muhammad. That was another book that several of us read within the district, sort of getting prepared for having an equity lens on our literacy work. So, a lot of my reading lately, especially with two little kids at home, it's been work-related stuff. And then if I can fit in some, articles on the phone or on the computer, otherwise, that's what I do. I don't get a lot of personal reading in anymore, but, at least I'm getting the professional reading in still.
Yeah, it's certainly hard, and those kiddos, and Audible is our friend. I love the walks on Audible, the car drives. I love Audible for sure. Music is another passion of yours. You're a concert goer, and tell me about that. Tell me about the passion for music and some of your favorites.
Yeah. So I am a big music guy. I grew up, as a little kid, grew up on country. And then right around early teenage years, I sort of became a punk rock kid and lived that for several years. I still got that in me. But now, now I'm into all different types of genres. But I do love going to concerts. My wife and I love going to concerts. I go to concerts with my father-in-law sometimes. Shout out to my father-in-law, Ron, who's also a big music head.
There you go, Ron.
Yeah. We just, we went to see Buddy Guy recently on, I think, what is his farewell tour. So that was really cool. And yeah, this summer, my wife and I, we went to Catbird Festival, Bethel Woods, saw Tyler Childers and Dispatch and Trey Anastasio from Phish. So we've been to a few. Saw the Lumineers at Jones Beach. So the interests vary depending on the genre. But I just for instance, last night I was on the computer getting tickets to go see George Strait and Chris Stapleton.
Oh yeah,
taking my mother to see them. My mother's a huge
Giant Stadium, right?
MetLife Stadium. Right. MetLife Stadium.
Yeah. Wow.
Got on the pre-sale.
Wow. Look at you. If you're watching the show live, jump in, introduce yourself, leave us a question. Ross, is it an escape for you? Are you watching the artist perform? Are are you thinking like sometimes the stage presence. I love watching presenters, comedians, people on stage present, like Kenny Chesney, Eric Church. I love. You could be his twin brother there, but like his stage presence was incredible. Are you kind of picking those things in, or are you lost in the music?
No, I definitely appreciate both for sure. An artist that can put on a good performance is, fantastic. And there's different types of artists out there. There's the ones where like Chris Stapleton's a country artist, where I've seen him a few times now, and he just stands there with a guitar, and you're just in it because his voice is so amazing. And then there's other performers that are all over the stage, and for me, I don't know. Music's just always been a love of mine. When I was a kid, it was something that it was a passion, it was an interest, something that I could sort of get lost in and spend a lot of my time in. And it's just has stayed there for me. It's sort of common thread since being a little kid that loved all different types of music. So
yeah. Music warms the soul. Lost Jimmy Buffett recently here.
Yeah.
But Ross, I'm going to challenge you here on the show, man. We challenged each other professionally in the past, making up a song, making up lyrics to a popular song for the kids and your staff around holiday time or things there. Those hit the mark. So I'm going to challenge you to get with your team and come up with some lyrics for a catchy song. And I hope you'll send it to me so I can see it.
All right, cool.
He's writing it down. It's on the list.
Got it. I'm on it.
Awesome. Ross, it's a journey. You mentioned your two young children, 5 and 3, your wife, you're a principal, you're a busy guy. How do you continue to sharpen your saw? If we don't take care of ourselves, we're getting dull. How do you sharpen your saw?
Yeah, I mean, I think that one of the most important things, I'm not a big work-life balance guy. I mean, I guess I am in some ways. I always say I feel like my first job, my first responsibility is as a husband and a father. I try to make sure that I prioritize that. And you got to find things that give you life, right? So if for me, it's, spending time with my kids, spending time with my family. When I'm at work, I actually get, and I guess in this way, I'm an extrovert where I feel energized by people, where, I'll sometimes get bogged down in something when I'm at work in my office, and sometimes just going out and interacting with people, interacting with staff, interacting with students, I get energy from that. It's sort of revitalizes me in a way. And I think, you got to find some balance. I like to exercise when I can. I like to, I'm a big runner right now. I've got some knee issues that I'm getting over. So I've taken a break since dealing with that. But morning exercise, finding some quiet time when you have a 3 and a 5-year-old, for me, it's before they wake up in the morning, like that 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. time is mine. I usually get up pretty early at 5 a.m. And, depending on the day, I make sure that I make the most of that time to focus on whatever it might be, either a workout, reading, something like that.
Yeah. So. And I love what you said about finding that passion, finding that thing. I heard a great quote that people aren't tired because they're doing too much. People are tired that they're not doing the things that, bring them energy, bring them passion and energize them, like you said.
Yeah, no, I think that's totally true.
Yeah.
You can be busy, but, busy can mean two different things. It can mean something that's bringing you life or something that's draining you. So, that's why I love this work. It can be stressful, it can be crazy, but it's people work, and it's always interesting. No day is like another, so it's just, I'm here for it.
Those little kids, my God, they're so beautiful. And had a chance to see our little kids this year in my different role here in Port Jervis. Ross, another passion is yours. You mentioned you're a social studies teacher. You're a history nerd.
Yeah.
Give me something, an event in history that you could compare to maybe things that are happening in education, things that that we can relate to as educators that maybe we need to improve upon, or should change, or is going to come to a head?
Yeah, I mean, I think of education right now is really it's a tough environment, and I think in a lot of ways the ways that like our country is divided have sort of seeped into education systems, and I always think about, I mean, this is a really tough time, I think, right now in our nation. And as a former history teacher and a person that's really in history, I always draw parallels with the Civil War era, and thinking about as a divided nation, how do we get through it, and how do we come together around some common values. So I tend to think about the ways that our divisions arise in education, and I think back to that time as a nation. I mean, one of my favorite books was Team of Rivals, book about Lincoln's cabinet and the way that he sort of formed his cabinet with having all different types of just that rivals, right? People with different perspectives and different ideas, and he was there to listen and there to be inspired and informed by all different viewpoints. So I hope that at some point we can sort of work through the some of the rife that we're going through right now, and move towards seeing each other for who we are. We're all human beings, and I think that applies to education, and then also our country as a whole.
Absolutely, I second that, and goes back to the well-read, quoting Team of Rivals. There, I've heard that is a great book.
Yeah,
Ross, you certainly seem like you're on the right side of surviving and thriving. Right? Sometimes it's a pendulum, and it moves quickly, but you certainly look great. You sound great. If you had to say this one thing, what is your one thing to be on that right side? A behavior, an action, a strategy, a technique, a passion, something that you're doing to not just survive, but to thrive. What's that one word, that one thing for you?
I'd say for me, it's love. It's empathy, I think when you see people around you for who they are and see the best in them, and really, if you're thinking from an educational leader perspective, you got to love your people. You might not agree with them. You might disagree with them a lot of the time. There might be some people that you can strike up a conversation with easier than another. But when it comes down to it, you gotta prioritize connection. You got to feel like the people that you're working with, you care about the people that you're working with. And so, I don't know, that's one thing that I always try to prioritize in my day to day.
Yeah.
The human side of things.
Beautiful answer.
Yeah.
Well, Ross, I want to get to rapid fire here. I know you have a busy evening. We got a school board meeting here in Port Jervis. Shout out to the Raiders.
Nice.
Ross, what was something that you wanted to talk about that I did not ask you?
I don't know if I had anything. I just, I was really inspired. I listened to your last interview with the Florida principal who's in her first year.
Yeah, Trisha Elliott.
Yeah, Trisha, that was a cool interview. And, it reminded me of, this work is all about just giving it your all. And I think all of us, we've all had a first year doing something, we've been, if maybe you're a first year principal, first year AP, first year teacher, whatever it is. And, just working through it, learning as you go, and making sure that, you don't lose the things that you were passionate about that first year. We all enter this because we feel like we have some sort of calling. And that's it. I feel like that's it.
Yeah. And my good friend Jimmy Casas, he talks about the interview chair, right? What were the things that you said and you felt when you sat in that interview chair, and how do you go back to it? You get
yeah, I got that's all
something
good.
happened. There's a cleanup in aisle 6.
It's all good.
He gave
this is Dave, our custodian. I love him. He's amazing.
That's right.
Come on, Dave. You come say hello.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, Dave.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Dave, how's the school looking, man?
Oh, I try my best.
I know. Ross was just telling me about you.
That's right. This
Yeah.
man, he retired and came back because he loves us so much.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
I need a golf money.
yeah.
Hey,
he needs more money
hey
for
Dave,
golf.
let me, if you're out, there's a big notice. If Ross is out, nobody even notices, right?
That's right.
That's right. We're out. The whole place goes.
That's right. 100%.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing, Ross.
Yeah,
That was awesome. Yeah. All right, Ross, let's get to the rapid fire. These are the quick answers that come right to your mind. Shout out to Larry Dake here. Yeah, you like that shirt, Larry. He looks great. He's leading the
Thanks,
New York
Larry.
State modeling convention coming up here soon.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, Ross, here we go. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, we're gonna skip the book one because you just mentioned it. Last movie you saw.
I got two little kids. Elemental.
Was it good?
It was pretty good. Yeah, not my favorite Disney Pixar, but good movie. Solid.
Love
movie.
the Disney flicks.
Yeah.
Last concert you went to.
I think it was that Catbird Festival that I was mentioning at Bethel Woods.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love the little spot up in Accord, Cohonxon, not far from you. There's that brewery with that outdoor.
Yeah, Arrowwood
thing.
Farms. Yep.
Yo,
Cool.
let's meet up there.
Yeah, cool
Let's
spot.
meet up there. I love
Let's
that
do
spot.
it.
Yeah. What's your favorite dish?
A good vegetable pad thai.
Mm.
I'm a sucker for Thai food. Love it.
Yeah. New Paltz, bro. They got a lot of that.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a college town, so a lot of good food.
Oh yeah. Favorite place to travel?
I love Newport, Rhode Island.
Oh yeah.
I'm a history guy. I'm an ocean guy. I love New England, and it's got it all. So
It really does. It's a
Yeah.
fantastic spot. It's tough in the winter. It's
yeah,
a little cold.
Windy. Yeah.
On January 1st, I will be glad that I fill in the blank.
I'm recovering from a knee arthroscopic surgery right now and a partial tear in my quad. So if I'll be happy to be healed.
Yeah. Get back to running. Yeah.
Yeah.
The best leaders are the best because fill in the blank.
Ooh, because they lead with love.
Again, he's using the L word. I love it.
Yeah.
A journal or blog you subscribe to?
Andrew Murata's weekly email. I love it. It's short and sweet, but I always take things from it. And I love, I love Marshall Memo. I love ASCD. What is the Smart Brief? Those are all great, publications. So,
What's a pet peeve of yours?
ooh, loud chewing. I don't want to hear that. Listen. Yeah, we all have, I get it, but we all have our days. But too much is not a good thing.
Which one's worse, adults or kids?
Oh, adults for sure, because they, should know better at this point. But
My wife, I'm telling you, I get the look if I talk with my mouth full. My
Yeah.
God. At 8 a.m. on Saturday morning, I feel fill in the blank.
well, I'm probably a little rushed because my son does Saturday morning soccer, so we're probably trying to get his, cleats on and get him ready and getting the whole household ready to head out to the soccer field. So
Don't carry the bag. That's a
Yeah.
parenting rule. Larry might have put it in Dad's Leaders and Father Figures. Don't carry the kid's bag.
Nice, good tip.
What's the best takeaway from this show for our guests?
I think we've talked a lot about it, but just having empathy as a school leader, or as anybody in education, because that can apply to kids too. It should apply to kids. Empathy is essential.
I love it. I think that's a great answer. One thing you're curious about?
Ooh, one thing I'm curious about, I'm always trying to do better when it comes to equity and doing what's best for, students that have been historically marginalized. And, I have a lot to learn as a leader, and I got to, I feel like I have to stay curious about that.
Love it.
Yeah.
Is there something about Ross Hogan that people do not know about?
Oh, I spent 5 years of my childhood in the Adirondacks. I grew up in a little town called Long Lake in the Adirondacks, and I love it. Love the mountains. Still love, we just spent the weekend in the Catskills just last weekend. So I feel like that ingrained in me a love for, love for the mountains, love for the outdoors.
We're adding a twist here to the rapid fire. These are the first time. We got a lot of firsts here on the show.
All right.
You got to pick one. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Cheeseburger or taco?
So I'm actually a pescatarian. So I'm gonna say a Beyond Burger, Beyond Cheeseburger.
Those are delicious. They
Yeah.
really are.
Yeah,
Larry's not ready. I'm changing it up, Larry. Long walk or a workout at the gym?
Workout in the gym.
Beach or lake?
Beach, although I'll take the mountains over the beach, but I like the beach more than lake. Sorry.
Series of a show or a movie?
Show is a tough one, but I'll go with movie, the Rocky series.
I knew I liked this guy.
Listen, Rocky 4 is my favorite. I know a lot of people like Rocky 2, Rocky 1, Rocky 4 for me. That was it.
He's a great philosopher, the Rocco Balboa. He's quoted in the book, right, Larry? Well, your favorite restaurant in New Paltz? I don't want to get you in trouble, but there's a ton of great spots in New Paltz, man. You could give me a top 3 if you want.
Wow. Okay. So my wife and I, we love the Parish, which is sort of like a New Orleans style restaurant here. If you're going for sushi, hands down Hokkaido, which is right in the middle of town. It's the best for sushi. And then Bangkok Cafe for Thai.
The Thai food there is incredible.
Yeah, there's like 3 choices. Which small little town, in New York has 3 choices for Thai food? It's crazy.
If you're listening from somewhere not near New York, New Paltz, upstate, New Paltz, New York is a great little spot. Yeah. I got a lot of requests here for this question here. What's your hair product, man? How do you get the hair looking so good?
I don't even know what it's called. I don't know. It's something that, how sometimes you go to certain barbershops and they sell you on their products?
Oh, yeah.
I think I just picked something up at a barber's suggestion, and yeah.
Larry, whatever he's using, we need.
A little Garnier Fructis just to make sure it doesn't move out of place.
After a busy day at school, his hair looks fantastic. Ross, I wish you the best on your journey. You're doing great things. I appreciate you as a friend and fellow educator. Why don't you end this with a quote here, Ross? What's something we can end with?
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes of all time that I love to share and love to go back to is Maya Angelou quote. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel.
And you're making those kids in New Paltz at your elementary feel great. This is Ross Hogan, everyone. We are going to wrap up the show here, Surviving and Thriving. Ross, I wish you the best, my friend.
All right. Thank you, Andrew. It's been a pleasure.
Stay on the line a second. We're going to sign off. Again, I hope you enjoyed the show. Leave us a positive review, a comment here, and you can follow Ross. Ross, you want to give that Twitter handle?
Sure. Yeah, it's at RD Hogan.
On Twitter, Larry, I'm trying to get Ross to join us on Wednesday nights for the Sainies chat. We are going to sign off here on Education, Leadership, and Beyond. If I can help you in any way, don't hesitate to reach out at Andrew Murata 21 on Twitter. And friends, I got scrolling below. I'm booking dates into next summer already. I'd love to come and be your keynote speaker. Ross, stay on the line. We'll talk soon. Here we go.
Right.
Bam.